Pitch Your Nonprofit starts now.
Can you imagine how good it would feel to have people looking for you? To have organizations, foundations, funders, investors looking for you to give you money instead of you being one of the millions looking for them. That is what building your influence looks like. That's the ROI of influence. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome. I want to make sure that everyone can hear me. This is the first of many Pitch Your Nonprofit pop-ups. Welcome everyone. Hey, Pedro. Hey, Nima, Machias, Misha, Tori, Marcel. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Aisha, Renee. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Pitch Your Nonprofit pop-up. Hey, Miss Mary. How are you? It's been a minute since I've seen you. I wanted to come on. We'll let everybody kind of pop in here. And as you can see, we've got the replays on. So people that join us at a later time, they'll be able to get this knowledge and get this information. I want to welcome everybody to Pitch Your Nonprofit Pop-Up. Yes, Pitch Your Nonprofit Pop-Up. Pitch Your Nonprofit Pop-Up is a new series that we're going to be doing here on this particular club of the Nonprofit Founders Club. As you know, Pitch Your Nonprofit is the #1 nonprofit show on Clubhouse, and actually #1 nonprofit pitch show throughout the world. We have helped nonprofit founders raise over $500,000 from the Clubhouse stage. Actual cash, actual hard cold money going to nonprofits to help them expand their client base, expand their nonprofit, expand their brand, and expand their business. And if you're new to Pitch Your Nonprofit show, Pitch Your Nonprofit show is one of, it's not the flagship show out of the Nonprofit Founders Club. It is a pitch show that is, it's very similar to Shark Tank in a way. We have amazing sharks that actually come on board and listen to the pitches. But the #1 thing that I love about Pitch Your Nonprofit show is it gives me the opportunity to leverage my tech experience and my experience in Silicon Valley, my experience in tech, and my experience in pitch in order to train nonprofit founders on how to pitch like tech founders. So on Pitch Your Nonprofit show, that's what we do. We're working on perfecting the art of pitch, and we're also not just leaving you there, we're also funding you. So that's super, super exciting. And thanks for the chat. I like this room chat situation. It's been a minute since I've been on Clubhouse. So bear with me as I'm seeing the updates and learning how some of the new additions and features are working. I think it's very exciting. So what I wanted to do today is to give you nonprofit founders the opportunity to just come up and do a pop-up. This is very different from the Pitch Your Nonprofit show. Pitch Your Nonprofit show, as you know, we go over the perfect pitch framework, and that framework helps you frame your nonprofit positioning to investors, to people who are donors, to people who are stakeholders in your organization and really in your mission. And we outline the parallels between a tech founder and how they're raising millions and millions of dollars in Silicon Valley and bringing that particular framework to you as nonprofit founders. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love to see nonprofit founders thrive. And I want to take this opportunity outside of Pitch Your Nonprofit show. I wanted to come on Clubhouse and give you an opportunity to talk about your particular nonprofit. So if you are a nonprofit founder who would love to come up, I want you to raise your hand. This is that opportunity. If you want to go over your practice for your pitch, if you want to go over your consulting, if you want to go over what you think will get you to the next level, this is the time to do that. This is a completely free Pitch Your Nonprofit pop-up. It is sponsored by Liberty Madison, and it's really focused on having you come to the stage, come up and really get your nonprofit to the next level. And as you know, and if you are new to Pitch Your Nonprofit, as you know, for me, I focus on increasing visibility for tech companies, founders and people that really want to grow through unconventional methods and unconventional content. And it's all about that visibility. And as I mentioned on Pitch Your Nonprofit Show, we have funded and helped raise over $500,000 for nonprofit founders across the country. And I want to invite you to raise your hand to come to the stage. And this is the opportunity for you to ask me questions, even if you don't have a question and just want to run something by. As you know, guys, if you have been a part of the Pitch Your Nonprofit journey, we don't even do that on the show at all. So this is the pop-up opportunity. I'm gonna bring a couple of people to the stage, and this is the time for you to do that. And as you come to the stage, just make sure you mute yourself as we get going, and I'll take one by one, and then we'll go on your questions, and we'll learn about your organization and then get to your specific questions. And we will start here. Let's say we have a number of people who have come to the stage already. And for those in the audience listening, make sure you click on my face and make sure you follow Pitch Your Nonprofit on Instagram. And you can also connect with me on Instagram as well and join that mailing list, because that's where you get all the insight for what's happening in the nonprofit world. I want to make sure that I am pronouncing your name right. Is it Macias? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Macias, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the pop up for Pitch Nonprofit. This is the opportunity for you to ask a question about your organization, and hopefully I can help you get to the next point for your nonprofit. What's your question?
Uh, First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. I was searching a non-profit clubhouse room for a long time because there is a lot of rooms, but they are not intended to be for non-profit organizations. So I'm grateful for this room and this club. So I would like
Thank
to ask.
you.
I'm from Ethiopia. And are you guys working internationally or
Well, right
only in
now for
state?
Pitch Nonprofit Show, we only work with US based nonprofits. And that if you go to pitchernonprofit.com, it will tell you the requirements needed in order to pitch on the show. And one of the reasons that we currently only service US based nonprofits is because the sharks that we have on the show, they're limited to only fund US nonprofits. So that's where we are right now. But also we've looked at exploring other ways around that. So perhaps one thing that we have done in the past is encourage nonprofits that are outside of the US to partner with US based nonprofits, and that way that could help them be able to kind of supersede that, and they can actually come on the show if they have a US partner. But currently, yeah, that's what we do. We only accept nonprofits that are US based.
Okay, thank you so much. And my organization called Hold My Hand. We work on street children's, and we have three shelters. And so we have a partner in States. So I think I can tell them to join this group so that they'll be beneficiary from this, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if you have uh, anyone that is U.S. based that you think that they will benefit, please definitely feel free to send this over to them, and also send them the pitchernonprofit.com. They can go to pitchernonprofit.com and join the mailing list, and they'll get the updates on everything that we do out of the show and also out of the pop up. Hopefully, that's helpful for you. Is that helpful for you, Mia Kayas?
Yeah, yeah. It is. And thank you so much. For now,
Thank you so much. It's
that's
great
all.
chatting with
Thank you.
you. Thank you. And I want to welcome Miss Mary. Miss Mary, how are you?
Hey there, Liberty. I am doing fantastic. How are
I'm
you?
doing great. It's so great to hear your voice.
It has been a while. I got an email and I was like, oh my God, I actually got to make certain that I put this on my schedule to make certain that I am in the room because the pitch your nonprofit space is so, so, so very important. And people that have nonprofits, that love nonprofits, are sleeping on it because it's such a huge opportunity.
thank you so much for that. I know you've been on the Pitch Nonprofit journey with us for a while, so I'm just so happy to hear that feedback because it's such an amazing opportunity for nonprofit founders. And I know as far as the show specifically, will be back this winter. We'll be back, but I wanted to come on to do a pop-up version. As you know, we don't even do a kind of conversation back and forth on Pitch Your Nonprofit show. It's never like that. It's never that opportunity to kind of come in and say, how can I scale my business? How can I get to the next level? Or answer any sort of questions dealing with visibility and building out your content and building out your strategy. And this is that opportunity. So if you have any questions regarding your organization, how you can increase your visibility, I am here to help you. What you got, Miss Mary?
Well, so first I want to encourage those that are in the room, and I have leading it into support with you, because when I said that people don't really understand, I remember when I met you. Um, I was pitching in the tech rooms, the big rooms where people were asking for
Mm-hmm.
like $3.5 million, and I was crazy enough to say, well, if they can pitch their business, I'm about to pitch mine too, and I just, why not? And getting the feedback that I had got in the room, I will never forget. It was Forbes Riley who was there, and she gave me so much feedback and invited me into her space. And then in talking with her, she was like, do you know who Liberty is? And I was like, no. And they're like, you've got to connect with her because she is part of the Nonprofit Founders Club, and it could be such a benefit. And I could not find when the picture nonprofit, how that worked. And then when I finally did it, I stepped out not knowing what I was doing, came into the room, came up on stage, and ended up getting funded. That was huge. And so for this space, even being able to have this conversation, you're right. In the normal picture nonprofit room, you get in, you get on, you either get up and out, you get so fast paced, but it's effective. And so to have the opportunity to talk to you and ask for any advice and support and things of that nature, that is huge. And so that leads me to my question. My question is this: in the nonprofit space, how how can a nonprofit connect with a tech company to be able to create something unique where it could also serve as a funding stream, an additional funding stream, like maybe some type of ongoing commercial, where in the commercial they like ask if can you send a donation to, or every time it gets viewed a donation happens. Is there something like that?
First off, Miss Mary, I love your testimony. I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm getting chills because every time I hear a testimony from someone who benefit directly from Pitch Your Nonprofit, it just warms my entire soul. So thank you so much for saying that. And I'm gonna reach out to Forbes to just thank her as well because she's amazing. I love her. And also for your nonprofit, I want to bring the audience in on your organization. So if you can give us a 30-second what your nonprofit is, because that'll help ground people that are listening. Maybe they have concepts and ideas. And to also answer your question, yes, I do have a method that can help you connect with tech companies specifically because that's my background, that's my audience, that's who I work with, and that's why we created Pitch Your Nonprofit, was for that. So let's start with giving us a quick pitch on your specific nonprofit, and then we'll dive in and identify some companies and how we can make that connection for your organization.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I definitely can give you my 30-second pitch. My name is Mary Jenkins, and I am the founder of the Cancer Option Collaborative, a donation funded cancer organization that gives emotional support and financial assistance to men, women, and parents of children in active treatment to prevent evictions, utility disconnections, vehicle repossessions, and so much more, so that those in treatment can focus on what's really important, and that is their recovery. As a two-time breast cancer survivor, I got laid off while going through treatment myself, and I learned through my personal experience that money raised in the world of cancer was not going to help people that needed it in the manner that I mentioned. I'm on a mission to change the narrative surrounding the world of cancer because people actually battling cancer are just as important as those that are funding cancer research. My name is Mary Jenkins, and I am the founder of the Cancer Option Collaborative.
Thank you so much for that. I think your pitch is powerful, and I also think that that really grounds people that may have some suggestions and want to reach out to you offline to let them know who you are. So let's get into your question. Your specific question is, how do nonprofits in general connect with tech companies? And I want to first start with, why do you want to connect with tech companies, and what do you think that benefit would be for them, and what do you think that benefit would be for you?
I want to connect with tech companies because it's the way that the world is changing. You have to have a strong tech presence. That things have just shifted. We went from where it's everything's hands on to then, of course, we did all the virtual. And so, if as a nonprofit we don't have a strong tech presence, whether it's by video, some way to connect via technology, I believe that we're going to miss out. And so for us, it's like I want to connect so that we can have a presence. And then for the tech company that we partner with, it will give them um, a strong avenue for them to fulfill their give back component.
Okay, great. Great. So, what I heard was, one, you feel like the world moving forward is tech based. Like, it's tech first, it is a tech driven environment, and you want to be a part of that. That's what I
Correct.
heard from the first response. And then the second one was, it will give them an opportunity for a social impact component for their business. Is that basically covering what you just outlined?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I think those are excellent points. And I want to talk about a couple of things when it comes to that, because this is a very popular question that I get often, is how do I connect with tech companies? And I want to use actually a Pitch Nonprofit alum as an example. A Pitch Nonprofit alum raised and connected thousands of dollars from a particular tech founder who connected him with tech companies. So we had one particular, uh, I want to say it was Coach. I'm sure you're familiar with Coach Coop. He came on Pitch Your Nonprofit and he pitched his organization. And for me, my audience is a tech audience. And one of a really good friend of mine heard his pitch on Pitch Your Nonprofit show, and he started funding his organization. Not just him, he invited his friends and also connected with his friends in Silicon Valley with a tech company to start funding his organization as well. So that's how that connection was made. And to date, he's received, I believe, over 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, something in that range from the pitch. And I always tell him it's the pitch that keeps on giving. Now he has a well-known name in Silicon Valley who's added to the board. He's receiving this funding from various opportunities and looking to continue that success with tapping into tech companies. So one, you definitely want to partner your organization with a tech company. In your particular nonprofit, there's so many ways that you can work with them as a social impact component. But one thing that I feel like a lot of nonprofits miss is it doesn't necessarily have to specifically lie with the social impact component. It can also lie with the marketing department. And that has nothing to do with social impact. So you have to think of it in two ways. You have two entry points to a tech company. So, one, let's first establish why you want to partner with tech companies, and let's be realistic. Realistically, you want to partner with tech companies because they're the most profitable industry. Let's just say that. I mean, right, Miss Mary? We know that's it. They're the most profitable industry. So let's not start with the impact stuff. Let's start there. They're the most profitable, and it's not going anywhere. Tech companies, if you look at the top Fortune 5, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and the scale and time that it took them to get there versus traditional companies, it's unbelievable. So one, you want to partner and have a vision to partner your organization with a tech company solely for that reason. Second, when you're looking at who should I partner with? There's tons of tech companies out there. You want to first evaluate your particular organization. So when we're talking about your organization, I believe when I hear your pitch, I hear what you do. Like I hear it's the conversation, age old conversation of features versus benefits. And when I hear your pitch, I already know what your organization does, but when I hear it, I'm thinking of it from a pitch marketing world. And I hear that you create ease for people experiencing the most difficult challenge of their life. Like that's what you do. If I had to
Yeah,
describe it, I wouldn't even
yeah.
do
I
all
mean
the
that
extra.
that literally is perfect.
Yes. So for me, coming from that background, it's like that's exactly the way I would position your organization. And then from there, it's how do you do that? So it's the features versus benefit. And then when you're like head down in your organization, you start just thinking of how you're executing various things. But the entire goal, that's what you're doing. You're creating ease. And when I hear you talk about taking the stress and pain and struggle of light bills and just all of these ancillary things that people don't necessarily think about, that is all encompassing with someone who is on this journey of recovery from cancer. I hope you're taking note of these phrases and words, right? So when
I
you're
am.
okay, perfect. When you're doing that, I think that's where you shine. So now that we have the reframing and repositioning, we can look at what tech company resonates with that. Because other if you don't have the right framing and positioning, you don't know who resonates with it. But it's so many people that resonate with that of providing ease and financial ease. So on from the top, you necessarily wouldn't think, oh, maybe I reach out. I'm going to ask you before I go into a couple of people that I think would be perfect. When you're looking at this, because obviously you had this question, what industries or what tech companies were you thinking of?
The one that I was like, I really don't know what tech companies are out there, but I this is crazy. I remember a few years ago having met the people from Microsoft, and I'm like, okay, I meet some of the most amazing people, but I have horrible follow up because I meet so many people. And I remembered that they had a campaign for nonprofits, but it wasn't what I was thinking that could benefit the organization the way my mind is thinking. And so I was like, I probably would just reach out to them and ask them if they would be open to, you know, having a different type of relationship. So what other tech companies are out there? And like I said, I know there's plenty out there.
Right.
Um, I'm not a tech person, so I don't
Okay,
know.
I think you know what? I think you introduced a good point. From tech company to tech industry. So one of the things, if we look at the first question I asked was, what industry were you thinking? And then what company were you thinking? So let's go on, let's put some action items for everyone listening. Let's identify, now that we went through the positioning, we're looking at who is in alignment, and then we're looking at the best industry that aligns. And then from there, we're looking at creating a list. Let's just say we're creating a list of top 10 of companies who are in this particular industry that we've already identified that will align. So when I hear about your organization and then the repositioning that we just did, the first thing that comes to mind for me, and also keep in mind, we just talked about we're not just focused on social impact. There's various departments and entry points into tech organizations for funding. It's not just social impact. And I'll go into why you don't want to focus on that as well. It's not just there, but the first thing that comes to mind is, and I know this is something that you probably weren't thinking about, but fintech, that's an industry. So when you're looking at fintech specifically, and do you know what fintech is or what that encompasses, Miss Mary?
No, I was like, fintech? I've never heard of that.
Okay, so when you're looking at fintech, that is financial tech. So in the tech industry, in the tech industry, there are various subgenres. So there could be someone who's focused on martech ed tech, fintech, and it just goes on and on. And that really narrows down who biotech, medtech, it really narrows down the particular industry of these companies. So from there, what you would look at is we already identified that you're providing financial relief for people going through the fight of their lives, a difficult time, right? So let's land on the finance because what's the key thing? Financial. We're talking about financial
Right?
relief. So if we're looking to identify fintech companies, first, that's what we do. We identify fintech companies. From that point, we can look at what are they doing to have a social impact and visibility in their region or nationally, it doesn't matter, in their region, and how they're looking to measure that success. And they're because they're fintech companies, they tend to partner with people talking about financial relief, financial education, find just various things that you can wrap your nonprofit around. Does that make sense in that realm?
That, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Does that sound like something that for your organization that you can outline and you can start to research and you can look up fintech companies and then
Yes,
from
and
okay,
it's
go
really
ahead.
good because one of the things that we want to make certain that the people that reach out to us, that they get the support that they need, but then also, have real conversations, like if they don't have any savings in place, how are they spending, what's their budget, those things, so that they can prepare should something else happen in the future.
And this, I wish I had my bell, but I'm not at my studio. I wish I had my bell. Ding, 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 ding. This is what I said. This is powerful because what we just did right now in front of everyone here, and I want you to follow Miss Mary and follow her progress. And what we just did when you outline, and I think people don't really focus on the importance of strategy, the importance of positioning, and the importance of pitch. Before that pitch work that we just did and that strategy positioning, we wouldn't have even landed here. We wouldn't have even landed at looking at preparing for the future. And that's literally what you're doing. You're helping people and then giving them relief and preparing for the future. So, Miss Mary, I feel like that is more than enough to get you started and to get you going. And I want to make sure that you connect with me. Also, you can connect with me by clicking on my face and connect with me at Instagram, Liberty Madison, and also Pitch Your Nonprofit Instagram. And reach out because I really enjoyed and love your question because that is one of the webinars that I've been working on kind of behind the scenes. It's how to connect nonprofits with tech companies because that is my area of expertise and that's something I can definitely help with and help move along. So Miss Mary, hopefully that was helpful for you. Was that helpful for you?
That was very, very helpful. And I'm like, man, she gets what I'm trying. She gets the future, because when I don't believe that people battling cancer is going to stop anytime soon. And that's just, we still have a long ways to go. There's so many different types of cancer, so I'm not limiting it to just breast cancer, but there's going to be a need for you know
Financial
financial
planning.
understanding,
Mm-hmm.
financial planning, preparation. It's like, how many of us have a will? you know
Yeah.
how many of us have life insurance? And or even, because I mean, we were starting conversations with Aflac because Aflac has a cancer policy, but it's like, how many people prepare because we don't think it'll happen to us?
Right.
And then when it happens, it's like, oh my God, what do you mean? I've been diagnosed with cancer. Now I can't get life insurance. Now I can't get the Aflac policy. Now I can't do these things. I don't have savings. And that's what sends them down the rabbit hole. And we're like, we got to catch them before they fall off so that we can help them and make certain that as they go forward, they get the support that they need. So, yes, this is
Absolutely.
perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely, Miss Mary. And make sure, and I know you're already on the email list, but for everyone else, go to pitchnonprofit.com, sign up on that email list, and I would love to continue to build with you as we prepare to bring back another season of Pitch Your Nonprofit Show. I'm really enjoying this pop up. So thank you so much, Miss Mary. We're gonna head over to Miss Michelle, thank you so much for your patience. And I would love to hear about your organization and your nonprofit and see how we can get you to the next level, Miss Michelle.
Thank you so much, Liberty, for opening this. And I also received the email about the pop up. So I was like, yay. So my name is Michelle Amons. I am a child care owner, director here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I currently am licensed in my home as a child care provider. I've been in child care for 15 years and in my home right now, currently for 3. So I established the Babysitters Club 727 nonprofit. The mission of our nonprofit is we are the village to stand in the gap for families, youth, and children to address the need of childcare, understanding that childcare is not just the 8 to 5 um, program, that we do need 24-hour childcare. We need youth and job placement and also family support. So I recently wrote a grant to our local sheriff's department about our summer influencer program. So we were targeting youth ages 13 to 21 in our county who are at risk. And we wanted to train these individuals to serve families and children. We wanted to address the national and local labor shortages and crisis. We understand now what they're calling it is the childcare desert. So we wanted to incentivize and lift these children up, get them committed to joining the childcare field, to educate them, um, and just to serve children birth to 5. The program wanted to provide funding to the youth who wanted to become early educators, to build their skills, increase opportunities for additional training and education. Um, and basically, we wanted to
So, Miss
identify.
Michelle, I'm gonna pause you right there. So,
Okay,
when you're saying, is this present tense or past tense? Because you're saying we wanted to do this. Is this something that you're doing?
we're
And
doing, yes. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
okay, perfect. So I want to thanks for giving us some context on what you're doing. So you're looking at your nonprofit with childcare and really standing in that gap. I
Yes.
definitely want to invite you to pitch your nonprofit so we can work on your pitch so you can really hone that in and sharpen it so people can really understand what you're doing and how they can assist you. But I for today for the pop-up, I would love to know how can I help you? What are you looking to do or what are you looking to accomplish? Or what question that you have for your organization?
Just basically, my question would be, um, how, because I know there's so many different directions that we can go with um, with our nonprofit. But basically, just I guess probably just honing in on what would probably make us stand out from other childcare nonprofit agencies.
Okay, so are you looking to you're trying to stand out. What's the goal? Are you looking to attract more customers, which would be people to sign up and enroll in your care center? Are you looking to attract government agencies so that you can secure funding? What is your particular goal, because that'll help us narrow down the best way that you can go about doing that. And also, how are you doing it now?
Okay, so the goal would be now to secure funding and looking for those, those government contracts and just contracts in general. We are in an area in Tampa, Florida, where it's growing, lots of condos around. Um, so just looking for where we can, find the funding
Okay,
to
so
support the
how are
children.
you going about that right now?
So right now, basically, we're looking with local grants. We've contacted um, the Early Learning Coalitions, but they are also funded through the state, the capital, like federal. government um, for the Early Learning
So
Coalition.
so as far as the way that you are going about it, so you're reaching out to your local government, you are is that kind of what you've done so far?
Yes, yes.
Okay, any other tactics that you've used? Because, like you,
So I
yeah.
wanted to do something locally to like businesses to offer our services where we would come
Is
to
this
the
something that
local
you've done
business.
already?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, but I haven't heard anything back regarding that. So maybe I'm going about it,
Okay, so it sounds like you are two things. One, you reaching out to local governments and you're looking to organize events. Is that it that
yes,
you've done so far?
yes.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, I would definitely, so like I said, I definitely want to invite you to Pitch a Nonprofit. And also, I want to invite you to Accelerated, which is my monthly group that we help you actually increase your visibility awareness so that you can achieve your specific goal. But it meets monthly, it helps you with your pitch, and I think that's something that you could really use to really get hone in on what you're looking to do in a concise way and really outline how you can position and really connect with your community and also larger community, because there's a lot of people giving money out and supporting in childcare. The first thing that I would say is also you can start building, because I didn't hear this and maybe you've done it, but from what I've heard so far, you've reaching out to local governments for grants and doing events. One thing that I would do that has really taken tech companies, tech founders, and also nonprofit founders that I work with to the next level is, are you creating content to increase your visibility for your organization? Are you doing that?
I'm not,
Okay.
and I know that I need to do that.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going to
Like
land.
content for social media,
Yeah, so that's where I'm going to land
right?
on this right now is for you and for everyone listening in the audience and on the replays. Definitely focus on your content strategy. And what that looks like is most people think social media when you're looking at content strategy. So when you're looking to connect with people, I'll give an example of a woman who is in my accelerated group, and accelerated is coaching and consulting for nonprofit founders, just so you know what that is. And it's a very affordable program for nonprofit founders to help them connect and get together. It's a program that like I said, meets once a month. And one of the things that we do in accelerated is we work on your media skills. And I know you're like, what, my media skills, why do I have to do that? Because everything you're doing is front facing, and you have to have that experience for people to understand what you're doing, connect with you on how you're doing it, and put them in the position to want to support and want to help you. That leads us to content. When people are looking online to get in front of contributors, donors, sponsors, stakeholders, people that believe in your organization and want to be a part, they have to discover you in some way. Currently, and not just currently, but also moving forward, we have decentralized discovery for anything that you purchase. If you look 50 years ago, you only had maybe two or three channels. Maybe you're looking at TV or the radio, and there was like two channels on that. But we have decentralized discovery. That is a powerful thing, but it can also have its drawbacks as well. Because one, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise coming into discovery, and you're like, oh my God, there's so many pieces of content. But when you create engaging content, and we go over also my E3 framework, when you create engaging educational content that's going to have them enroll in what you're talking about, that is going to move them to action. One person that I'm thinking about right now who is an accelerated, we together worked on content, and my audience, an audience member saw that particular piece of content, and she's in the state of Illinois, and I just so happened to have someone who viewed that piece of content who works for the government in Illinois. Like literally, it was illinois.gov, and they were overfunding. And they said, "Oh my God, I just saw her interview. I just saw her talk about this, and she mentioned she'd been trying to get a hold of someone here. We're going to go ahead and just let's set up a meeting with her." Let's make it happen. That's just one example of how creating the right content, powerful content, really puts you in the front of the people that you want to connect with. So, what I want to advise you, Miss Michelle, think of the people that you want to connect with, think of the goal that you're trying to reach, and create content that really moves that goal and connects it. So, hopefully, that was helpful for you, Miss Michelle. And I want to encourage you to start creating that content and also connect with me on Instagram, face and not Facebook because we're not really active on Facebook because everybody's on TikTok and Clubhouse and Instagram, but connect with me there and also sign up for the mailing list on pitchyournonprofit.com, and we're really going to dive into what you need to do, like how do you create content, because I know that can be a stifling place if you're not sure what to do. So perhaps check out Accelerated. That may be an opportunity for you. But your starting point, identify who you want to connect with, identify what kind of content does this particular persona consume, create, in step 3, create content that's going to educate, excite, and enroll them in the mission for your organization. Was that helpful for you, Miss Michelle?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. We have a couple of minutes here, and I want to thank everyone who decided to come out to the Pitch Your Nonprofit pop up. Again, Pitch Your Nonprofit is the number one flagship show out of the Nonprofit Founders Club. Pitch Your Nonprofit has funded over $500,000 to nonprofit founders right here from the Clubhouse stage, right here, cutting checks to nonprofit founders. And we have an amazing host of sharks who come to fund. We're doing the Pitch Nonprofit pop up because, one, on the show, we don't get the opportunity to really engage and talk about the visibility, the growth strategy, the content strategy, the how do I get in front of the right people and what do I do outside of raising grants. What I focus on Accelerated is looking at unconventional ways to fund your organization that really, really lends itself to visibility, building authority, and building out the influence for your organization. And one of the things that we do in Accelerated, we do not talk about creating a nonprofit. We don't talk about tax structures. That's not what we're doing at all. We're literally talking about how do I come up with all of this stuff that I need to do in order to reach my goal. And typically your goal is either more donors, more clients, or more funding. So I want to thank you so much for coming out to be a part of this conversation. And we have a couple of minutes. I want to make sure that we get through Aikisha and Miss Rena. So thank you so much for being patient. Miss Aikisha, welcome. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but welcome to the stage. And I want to give me your 30-second pitch so we know about your organization, and then what's your question, and we can get the coaching and consulting on for you. Miss Aikisha?
Most definitely, I am here. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, great, great. Yes, and you did pronounce my name correctly. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be in the room. Thank you for having this pop-up. This is my first time coming across this. I've been on a sabbatical from Clubhouse and promotion and things for a couple of months as I moved to a new location. So I'm just now getting back on. I saw your room. It's an amazing title. I'm happy to be here. And I have a nonprofit called Purpose, Grow, and Heal. And what we are focused on is bridging the gap between healing and purposeful intent with life in regards to mental health. That's how we support that whole process. And so my main focus is to put the spotlight on mental health throughout all communities as a segue into stability. So through Purpose, Grow, and Heal, there's mental health opportunities, not opportunities, but mental health programs that are provided, as well as financial literacy. I heard one of the ladies mention financial literacy. That's one of our key components as well. And life preparedness. A lot of people think that job preparedness is very important, and it is, but you have to kind of know where you're going. And when you've been emotionally or physically abused, which is our client base, it can be sometimes hard to navigate your way back into society as a healthy, forward moving person. So that's what Purpose Grow and Heal is focused on. And I am in the process of considering what funding right now. I'm glad you mentioned like content and social media, because that's where I started with everything. I do interviews with therapists and um, mental health professionals and therapists. And so I started there, and I'm looking to focus my next step on, should I go with government funding? Should I do private funding? That's kind of where I am right now in regards to just getting the ball rolling with actually funding the nonprofit and things like that. Because we got the spotlight on, but I'm looking to branch out now.
So I want to make sure, is that your question? I want to make sure that I answer your specific question. So you're wanting to determine which route you're going, or kind of help me with
Yes,
that. Okay.
yes. I want to determine which route I'm going in regards to the full purpose of the whole nonprofit. My main goal is to help my community first and foremost. Um, but I've also been considering like, okay, this could be a worldwide outreach. I don't want to think too small, you know. So I'm
No, I,
considering, but I
yeah,
know.
definitely. Yeah,
Mhm.
I understand that you're focusing on mental health and you want to make sure that you are looking at it from the perspective of the best route to fund. And I don't want to reframe your question. That's why I want to make
It's
sure
okay.
that
It's
I'm
okay. I want
getting
you to fully
your
understand so
specific
we can really.
question. Yeah. So, with your question, you want to know which route to go. That really depends on where you want to go for your organization and how quickly you want to get there, and also taking a list of your actual skill set and your self-awareness and capabilities. So which way are you leaning towards going?
I want to start community first.
Okay. So you want to build community. I kind of got that from the fact that you said you've already started with content. You started moving in that direction. So I definitely see the building community aspect. How are you funding right now? How are you funding your organization right now?
My organization isn't, well. We just taking donations, and I haven't. I started applying for grants or anything right now. It's completely in what I guess is the baby stages of being formed and everything. So that's where I am. Only the people that have offered their services to come in and be of service in regards to counseling, things like that.
Okay, well, perfect, Miss Akisha. I think that definitely gives us a starting point, and I'm going to mute you really
Okay.
quickly so that I can reply to that and we can have just a clear background. But as far as what you've just stated right now, a couple of things that I think works in your favor is your focus on a mental health, a mental, I was going to say mental health startup, which obviously it is, but that's your nonprofit. And where we are in America in our time is that people have acknowledgement on the impact of mental health, and a lot of people are looking at various solutions for that, and also looking to aid people who are tackling that topic. It's a real topic. So, looking at where you are right now and where you want to be, you said that you've already started creating content, you want to build community. So when I'm looking at that and I'm thinking of how can you build community, because these are two separate things. I want to build community versus I want to build funding. They can overlap, but they're two separate things. You can build community without looking at various strategies to monetize, which I personally would not advise. I would always look at a monetization strategy first, foremost, and in focus. First, foremost, and in focus. Look at your monetization strategy and then reverse engineer how you leverage that to build community and how you leverage that to tackle grants. So when you're looking at your grants and you're looking at your community, obviously two separate things. And when you're looking at unconventional ways of funding versus grants, and I noticed you mentioned, oh, we're just receiving donations, but we haven't started grants. One thing that I want to talk about for everyone in the audience and everyone that's listening is there is a clear distinction between grants and unconventional methods of funding. Typically in the nonprofit world, a lot of people assume that grants are the number one way to go. And they assume that because that's what they've seen, that's what they've heard, and that has been the experience historically in the nonprofit world, in the nonprofit industry. That's not always the best way to go. It can have its challenges with various restrictions. It can have its challenges if you only focus on grants. That's why we have Pitch Your Nonprofit show. Is it is an example of what it looks like to receive funding outside of traditional grants. Again, we funded over $500,000 on Pitch Your Nonprofit show without the need for restriction, without the need for grants, and various partnerships that come out of that. So I want to invite you to elevate and expand your mindset when it comes to funding. You do not have to specifically focus on grants. Grants are not superior to individual contributions and individual donors. If you know, when you're looking at the contributions for nonprofits from Q4 in 2021, billions of dollars came directly from individual contributors. That is where you're going to win. It's going to be your individual contributor. So I just want to add that context that that is just as valuable for me, actually more valuable than grants. So look at it that way from a different perspective. But also for you, Miss Aikisha, I would definitely look at outlining these different things that you want to accomplish, create a strategic plan, and realize and outline where they overlap and intersect, because some of the things that you said, they run parallel, but they're separate things. So the first thing I would advise for you to do is to start off with your monetization strategy. That could include products, partnerships, and various things that you create as an organization or as an individual, and then build community around that in order to increase your visibility so that you can increase obviously individual contributors, but you can also look at increasing your visibility so that you land these grants, because as we know, it's humans behind these grants and they want to see traction. They want to see that you are out there doing the work. So I would definitely start there. Start with your monetization strategy. I hear that you're building a community, you're building content. Let's start there and then reverse engineer it back. That's what I would definitely suggest for you. And if you need any further support on what is my monetization strategy, what does a product suite look like that comes from a nonprofit, definitely go to Instagram. You can check out my Instagram. You can go to Pitch Your Nonprofit, and you can also click on Accelerated. I'll definitely extend that offer to you as well. It's a program that really will help you work through that and give you time to workshop it, and also feedback in real time to help you move it forward so that you have that accountability to get where you need to go. Is that helpful for you, Miss Aikisha? You're on mute. Let's see. Okay,
Okay.
Miss Aikisha, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I went to Instagram as soon as you said I will go to the Instagram. I said, "Ooh, done."
I've done that
uh,
too. And you're trying to scramble to get back. But
oh no,
yeah,
calling my name. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. You touched so many points and calmed me about a few things that I thought were true, especially the parallel. Like I feel like, okay, this is this and this is that, but they're in two different lanes, but they're going the same way. So I appreciate all of your insight input, and I'm definitely going to be looking into the accelerated. This is a huge deal for me, but it's something that my heart is in it, and so I want to see it through in the proper manner. So
absolutely.
you said I'm going to digest it. I'm going to sit with it, and I'm looking forward to implementing something that you offer accelerated, more of the pitching. Like, I already joined the club. I just appreciate you having this. Thank you so much for all the insight and detail on your response to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Keisha. I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to connecting with you offline as well. So looking forward to that. And my last person to come up, Miss Renee. Am I pronouncing this right? Rena? Miss Rena?
You said Renee right.
Oh, I got it right the first time.
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you
Okay,
for
Miss
that.
Renee. I know, right? And that's one thing I pride myself on is getting people's names right because it's your identity and I want to make sure I get it right. So I'm happy I got it. So give me the 30-second pitch on your nonprofit and then we can get your coaching going. We can get your coaching and consulting going.
Okay, yes. I am Renee Watkins. I'm a 24-year survivor of HIV. Um, and my nonprofit is called Renee's Hope Project. And it's dealing with helping others. I know how it was when I first found out I had HIV and how my family treated me. And to tell them, So I'm helping others go through that process. Um, there's so many people committing suicide because their families just they didn't know how to tell their family it's a lot that's gonna be involved in the Renee's Hope Project. I know how it felt. I'm dealing with how my experience was dealing with HIV, the blocks that I had as far as housing, um, job. I was a surgical tech and uh I want to help others just really go through this thing and know that we're living and not dying, having that yeah, this has hit us, but it hasn't broke us. It's not going to break us.
Absolutely. And I want to make sure because this pop up has about 5 more minutes. So I want to make sure I
Okay.
get to your question for your organization. How can I help you? And how can I help you get your organization to the next level? Do you have a specific question?
I this is the first time I'm on here I ever seen you guys, and I'm just kind of swimming my way around trying to figure out how do I, because I too was trying to apply for a grant. Um, but are there other, places I need to be looking for as far as the for funds other than grants?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that question. I love the simplicity of the question. And first, before I answer it, I want to make sure you are an active nonprofit. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. I'm in the process of getting everything in
Okay, so you
line.
don't have a nonprofit right now. Is that
Right. It's I'm still waiting on all my paperwork to get resolved.
okay? Well, thank you so much, Miss Renee. I definitely want to quickly answer that question and touch on it for nonprofit founders and give everyone an overview. So, thank you so much for coming up. And you can definitely listen to all of this on the replay. So, one, I'm just going to mute you really quick, Miss Renee. And so, one, I want to start off again everyone that comes to pitch your nonprofit show, you must be a active nonprofit founder and be based in the United States. That's the only way that we can really support your organization with those two qualifications because we are introducing a new program that will help you to become a nonprofit, which we haven't done that before, so I'm giving y'all a little sneak peek on that. But that's the outline for Pitch a Nonprofit Show. But specifically to this question, which I really, really love, and I appreciate that question, is where can I look for funding outside of grants? And we touched on this a bit right before with Miss Aikisha, looking at other ways, and we touched on this as well with Miss Mary and Miss Michelle. And one thing that I will anchor you with here and leave you with is the number one place that you should be looking for funding outside of a grant is with individual contributors. Individual contributors are the number one source for funding for nonprofits. And it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about because your mind as a nonprofit founder is typically positioned towards getting grants. And when I say individual contributors, it's when you look at those SPA commercials, the let me save this dog and let me do this and let me do that. It's individual contributors from around the world that is set up, primed, positioned. They have your attention. They have a specific positioning. They have a specific offering, and they have a specific call to action. That's typically what early stage nonprofit founders are missing. And I get it because you got your head down and you're working in the work, and it's not necessarily looking at how you're going to build your brand, build your visibility, and connect community to your content so that they can fund you. So that's my answer for that. As far as where can I look for funding outside of grants, individual contributors, what you need to do, the framework that you need to create in order to educate them, entertain them, and enroll them in your mission. That's work that we can do at Accelerated. So make sure you click on my face, go to my Instagram, shoot me a message. Also go to Pitch Your Nonprofit, and happy to send you over the details for Accelerated. We meet monthly. It's an excellent space if you're a nonprofit founder, and also as Miss Renee is an aspiring nonprofit founder, and we focus on everything I just mentioned: the content, the social, the visibility, the awareness, the PR, the strategies. We do not talk about formation of nonprofits, tax structure, anything of that nature. This is specifically focused and curated on how you increase your visibility so that you can increase your contributors, you can increase your influence, and you can leverage that to secure the funding that you need for your organization. I want to thank everybody for coming here today to the Pitch Your Nonprofit pop-up. If you did not get a chance to get on stage, I'm thinking about doing another one. I don't know. Y'all tell me, take a screenshot, tag me on this if this was beneficial for you. Tag me, share it out, get people involved, because I love the coaching and consulting for nonprofit founders. And again, my background is working with tech founders, but there's so many gaps that I know that I can support nonprofit founders with. And I'm just so thankful for this community and thankful for Pitch Your Nonprofit. And I want to invite you to follow that club at the top, that little greenhouse. And you can be a part of the Nonprofit Founders Club. And also go to pitchyournonprofit.com to sign up on the email list. Thank you so much, Miss Mary. Thank you so much, Miss Renee. Thank you so much, Miss Aikisha, everyone in the audience. I see you, Sonia. What's up, Tracy? I see you guys, Fabian, Jennifer, Sia, Michelle, and Pandora. Okay, I see all these different new faces. I love it. So make sure to connect, and hopefully we'll see you on the next pop-up. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Can you imagine how good it would feel to have people looking for you? To have organizations, foundations, funders, investors looking for you to give you money instead of you being one of the millions looking for them. That is what building your influence looks like. That's the ROI of influence.